from RF Smart. This is Taking Inventory, a podcast all about better controlling your supply chain and improving inventory management. And now, your host, Sarah Archer.
Welcome back to Taking Inventory, the RF Smart podcast. My name is Sarah Archer. I am your host, and I am joined today by John Anaker and James Seeley from our hardware team, and they're going to be sharing a little bit about our hardware professional services and our hardware team. Before we get started with that topic, I would love to have them introduce themselves. I'm going to let John go first. John, you have been on the podcast before, but you're here live in the Jacksonville studio, so glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do at RF Smart.
Yep. Thank you, Sarah. I am excited to be here in studio live for this session. So last time I did it remote over Zoom. So I am John Anaker. I am the AVP of Hardware Sales and Service here at RF Smart. I have been in the hardware industry space selling this type of equipment. Think mobile computers, tablets, label printers, scanners, things along those lines. For example, like Zebra would be one of our major manufacturers. So any devices like that would be the main crux of what the hardware team sells and does. But for myself, I've been in this industry for 20 plus years now, on the street selling. I did work for one of our major manufacturers for about 5 years, and then now I've been at RF Smart leading this team for the last 5 years.
Well, John, thanks for being here. Glad to have you. And James, newcomer to the podcast. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do at RF Smart.
Yeah, thanks for having me. James Seeley. I'm the Hardware Technical Services Manager, so I have ownership of the hardware support team, the hardware professional services team, and our hardware pre-sales engineering team. My background, almost 30 years in the industry, had a lot of different manufacturer experience, working with some different manufacturers in the quality assurance, software engineering, and then ultimately moved into a systems engineer role before I came to RF Smart here about 2 years ago.
Well, I'm very excited to talk about our hardware professional services team today. I think that to give a better picture of our hardware team and how hardware professional services plays into that, I'd love to just start by talking about who is the hardware team. So, John, I'm going to pass it over to you. Can you give us just a little overview? Who is the hardware team? What do they do at RF Smart?
Perfect. Thanks, Sarah. So the hardware team, when I first started 5 years ago, we had a number of people here and it was strictly sales focused. So when I started, it was a sales effort. We have a number of people throughout the country, like I mentioned Zebra products before. So we sell mobile computers, printers, scanners, some of the services that go around that, working with our clients, understanding their needs, positioning the right product to help their typically RF Smart project go off without a hitch, right? Designing the wireless infrastructure, potentially looking at the right mobile computers that these clients are going to acquire to facilitate the needs and to run RF Smart efficiently inside of their warehouses or distribution centers. So that would be the typical goal for the sales team, is to handle that front end work and work with the client to make sure that their needs are met as part of the RF Smart project. As part of the offering that we have for clients, on top of selling the hardware to them, we do a lot of labeling work. So think custom labeling for warehouse rack labeling. We'll do custom product labels. We'll do run rate labels. We'll do stock labels, really anything from a label perspective that would run through the printers that we have. And additionally, on-site support. So we do a lot of on-site, whether it's sales support, whether it's post-sale support, whether it's technical support. We do have teams that will go out and do site surveys for wireless infrastructure support as well. We do want to be that one-stop shop for all of our clients, where when they come to RF Smart and they're buying the software, we can provide all the services that they would need, from software implementation to hardware implementation, and really take that project as a one-stop shop for all of our clients.
And then after they go live, they get to meet James's team.
They do, the support team. So we have the hardware support team, lots of great team members, mostly based in the Jacksonville area. We have some team members with over 20 years of experience in the industry, so it's great to have them to rely on and get involved to help out with these kind of issues that might crop up. They've seen a lot of it, they've done a lot of it, and can help out just about any customer. And one of the great values with that support team is they really provide that one hand to shake. So not only are they customers getting software from RF Smart, but when they get the hardware from RF Smart, we can help them end to end to make sure their implementation goes well and they're able to get any problems that they have solved.
And one thing I want to call out about our hardware support team is that you guys do write knowledge base articles.
That's right. We do try to help with case prevention too, and just give customers that option of solving issues on their own. So we spend quite a bit of time going through and writing up knowledge base articles based on existing issues and known issues that are things that customers can solve on their own.
That's super important for our customers. For those of you who are listening, you may be familiar with our knowledge base. If not, email info@rfsmart.com. We'll get you hooked up. But our knowledge base provides hundreds of articles that can help you prevent software and hardware issues. So I would really encourage you to check that out. And James's team helps support that. So what we're really here to talk about, though, is the Hardware Professional Services team and what's available through our professional services packages. James, could you talk a little bit about the Hardware Professional Services team, how they kind of play into the support team, what their role is at RF Smart?
Yeah, so we have a lot of great individuals that help out with the hardware professional services, and they're just able to jump in, understand the customer's needs, and then really help deliver that product that they're going to need ultimately, so that really what we want is a customer to get some equipment, some hardware from us, and take it out of the box, put a battery in it, and it just works. That's really the goal, and so we can help them accomplish that.
Absolutely. John, why did we start offering this service? I'm curious to know where the idea for Hardware Professional Services came from.
So I've been in the industry a long time, like I talked about, 20 plus years. I've seen a lot of different companies, some similar to RF Smart, some very different. So a great perspective on what other companies were doing really well and where they were taking advantage of opportunities inside of the market. RF Smart, I felt like, I'd been here a couple of years, I felt like was the right type of company to really offer this service. Our clients are looking at us as that trusted warehouse provider. We have the software, we have the hardware. For us to take on that additional work to handle the setup, the configuration, the deployment, the spare pool management, and all that additional hardware professional services really seemed like a good fit. We're the trusted advisor for that client already. And for us to take that next step and take on more responsibility for the success of that project just seemed like a very natural fit.
Well, so what I'm hearing then, John, from you is this is pretty similar to on our software side. We have a professional services team that helps to implement and maintain the product on that side. But similarly, if you are purchasing hardware through RF Smart, you would potentially need a partner to help you, because a lot of times our customers are not necessarily experts in setting up or deploying their own hardware. And so we take that guesswork out of it, and we're able to just help them with that.
Yep, that's absolutely correct. Our goal is to make this very straightforward. We don't need a dedicated IT support desk. We don't need help from the customer for the most part. We need very few bits of data for us to accomplish the goals that we're looking for. Like James said, when you open up that device, you want to take it out of the box, it'll immediately authenticate onto your network, and you can start using RF Smart with really no help at all. That is our goal. And the professional services that we have on the software side are doing a lot of that work. We're already that trusted supplier for the software. For us to do this on the hardware, I think was not only needed inside of the marketplace. Everybody's constrained as far as the IT support that they have on site. And typically they already have full-time jobs, right? They're already overworked. To burden them with a project typically of the size that we work on, but it could be big or small depending on the size of the company, they would love to give that to someone that they could trust to do that work for them, and they could deliver a product on site that their workers could open up and immediately start using. And that's the goal of this service level, is that we're looking to provide that for these customers so they don't need to take on that burden themselves, and they can concentrate on their core business needs.
So James, from the support perspective, why would customers want this service? Do you have some examples of customers who are using this service and how they're using it?
It really runs the gamut from why customers would choose this. A lot of it is, the biggest reason really is that customers don't have the resources necessarily to implement this equipment on their own. So these are devices that maybe they're not used to seeing. They don't know all the tools around it to help configure these devices. And so by relying on us, by asking us to do the setup, then they can just turn that over. They provide the information that we need, and then we take all of that and build that into a configuration that can then go on the mobile computers and be shipped out to the end location for the users to use.
So if I order hardware from RF Smart, I can expect that if I use Hardware Professional Services, that is going to come to me fully ready to go.
That is always the goal. Always the goal. If you can give us the information, we can get the device set up with the proper settings so that it is ready to go to your specifications.
Have you guys communicated with customers or heard feedback from customers where they've experienced this and said, wow, this really changed the way our go live went?
I mean, we're going through it right now. We have one customer that bought over 400 devices, and they had 50 plus different locations to ship those to. They have a small IT staff that's focused on other things, other software projects, and they just said, you know what, we don't want to have to understand all of this. We don't want to understand how the devices work. If you can set them up RF Smart and ship them to these locations, that would be perfect, because there's some different configuration based on where it's going, and then our individual users can just take those devices out of the box and use them.
That's such a great example. And I imagine, too, that as our world is more and more remote and you do have different locations, or potentially you are hiring IT staff or people who are working remotely or from home, they may not be on site to troubleshoot some of these issues. And so being able to just trust that the RF Smart team has your back in this way, I think that that's really awesome.
That's exactly right. And we're definitely seeing a lot more IT staff that aren't working in the actual locations. And we're also seeing this can help smaller companies too. So we have companies that buy 3 to 10 devices, and they just don't have the IT staff in general. It might be the COO who's also the IT staff, or the warehouse manager, that the person responsible for the IT infrastructure. And maybe they don't want to have to dive into the details of these devices. And so that's another situation where we can really come in and help out the customer.
We've designed the service and built it to support all of our customers. We have very, very large customers with huge IT staffs that want us to do the work for them, right? They're already overburdened. They have too much other work going on. And this is a special project that typically is one-time knowledge that they don't possess. So they're very happy to pay us to do that work. But we have lots of small customers, and James can attest to this, that 3, 4, 5 users, and they have no IT presence. And they would be more than happy to send them to us and have us configure them and send those devices through our hardware professional services team, configure them and roll them out and manage them long term. So again, this is built for the largest customers we have, but also very, very relevant to our smallest customers as well.
So John, can you talk through, there's some different packages that you could go for with hardware professional services. Could you talk through those packages and talk about one of the most popular options?
Sure. So we do differentiate our offerings for the needs of our customer. So one where a lot of our customers would start is potentially in the one-time service offering that we have, where it includes device configuration, some level of triage, QA, testing, and then we work with the customer to design the right gold image for them, load that image onto the devices, whether it's hundreds or 1 or 2, test that in-house, send it to the customer. They would test it at their location to verify that everything is correct. Once that's done and we verify all that with the customer, that would really end the level of service that we had for that one-time fee. Next level would be when we get into more of like a managed service type look and feel. We do call it complete care, where it is everything that the one-time fee would include, which is your device configuration, your testing, rolling that out to the customer. Once it's on site, they've tested and everything works great, then they would roll into the true complete managed service care side of the equation. Some of the great service offerings we have inside of that would be gold image management. So as different security offerings come out, as different OS offerings come out, as firmware updates need to be applied, we would be proactively managing that for our customers. When you get to the advanced side of the complete care offering, we do offer spare pool management, which is one of our most popular offerings that we have, where think of a customer that usually a little bit on the larger side, but if they have 50 plus devices, multiple locations, they don't want to manage their own spare pool. So we would keep all the spares that they have on site at RF Smart, and a customer would call us and they would say, hey, we have a broken device. We would triage that device to verify that it truly is broken and needs to go in for repair. Once we've determined that that's the case, then we would take a spare pool device out of their spare pool that they would keep at RF Smart. We would configure it to the location that it's going to, and we would send it out overnight. The goal is, depending on the time of day, is to have it delivered within 24 hours so that they're up and running the next day. And then that device that went in for maintenance, typically through the manufacturer, would be sent back to RF Smart and put back in their spare pool so we're ready for the next device down and outage issue.
I think SparePool is one of my favorites of the offerings that come with hardware professional services, and I think it's probably one of the favorites of our customers too. James, could you speak a little bit to premium help desk support and what that looks like?
Yeah, premium help desk support is part of our complete care line of services. And so really what that does is it helps our customers get priority access to our support. So we do support all of our customers that we sell hardware to, but customers that buy into our complete care packages, then they also get that kind of priority service. So we regularly triage the cases that come into the help desk queue, and as customers have issues when they're complete care customers, we'll prioritize those over other cases depending on that level of service.
So any additional features that come with the hardware professional services packages that you might want to highlight?
Sarah, we mentioned some of the big ones, obviously with spare pool management and the advanced device configuration. A few of the other ones that are very beneficial to our customers. So we will do full kitting for our customers. So James mentioned the customer that had 400 plus devices, 50 plus locations. A huge value to them was unboxing all 400 devices, accessories, batteries, chargers, things that people don't typically think about, coordinating all that to be able to send to each individual location. So they had the right amount of batteries, right amount of chargers. on-site for their particular install and rollout for their software. So again, that's a huge value to our customers, shipping to individual locations. We mentioned the gold image management and creation, but the management being the longer ongoing value that is for these clients. They're not going to continue to keep looking at these devices and staying up to date on security, which in this day and age is becoming very, very critical that they stay on top of that. So that's one of the bigger values that we do offer there. General asset reporting, DOA testing, QA management, all those are rolling into the complete care type offering that we have for these customers. So again, a lot of value there for our clients.
Yeah, so many different offerings. Would you mind, John, to explain in your own words, golden image creation? What does that term mean? What does it mean for our customers?
Great question, and I'll give you the sales answer, and then I'll turn it over to James to give you the technical answer. But for me, the goal that we've always said is we want to have the worker be able to open up the device, turn it on, and it will authenticate to the network, and they can start using RF Smart out of the box. So the goal there is to get the right information from their staff about the network configuration, the way that the type of software they're going to use, and the way they're going to use it. Any scanning parameters, things that we need to be set up there. Now, that's the goal. That's how we want to have it set up. Technically, I'll let James answer what that looks like a little more.
No, that was good. That was good. I mean, what I would add is we try to document and help ensure that every device goes out with the exact same configuration. And that's part of what creating that gold image is. And so that's things like Wi-Fi, like John mentioned, but also scanner settings, applications that need to be loaded, the exact operating system that should be on the device. So we want every device that shows up to be identical, if at all possible. And then managing that gold image goes into the next level, where if a customer needs a change or we identify a newer OS that needs to go on the devices, we can then proactively update that golden image so that any other future devices that come in get that applied and have the latest and greatest of what the customer wants.
So if I'm a customer, you're creating this gold image, this really a snapshot of what my settings for my devices look like. You're putting it on a device, I'm unboxing it, it works, it's amazing. And then if I need to order more devices or I need to pull a device from my spare pool, it's going to come with those same exact golden image standard.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Yep. And the customers love that because they have that consistency. They know what they're going to get every time, and they know what's going to work and fit their needs.
John, who can use Hardware Professional Services? How do you get connected?
So that's a great question, and this is really designed for everyone. Right, so we have customers that came to us that are net new, brand new software project, going to buy brand new devices. They're an ideal candidate, right? These are new devices they typically wouldn't have a good understanding of. They would come to RF Smart and we would take care of the entire project needs as far as the devices go. But we have many customers that came to us who were already an RF Smart software customer, maybe already even had devices, maybe we're going to purchase some new ones, and we've designed this service for them as well. If they don't already have some sort of Hardware Professional Services offering, we would sell them the correct service offering that would meet their needs, and we can still provide them with gold image management and creation, fixing devices that would potentially be having issues on more of an ongoing basis, and additionally be on that premium help desk support, which is a big deal for a lot of our customers as well.
So whether you've been with us for 6 minutes or 6 months or 6 years, you can still use Hardware Professional Services.
Yep, a lot of our clients have come to us, both net new and existing clients. Once we rolled this out, they knew it was a valuable service and they wanted on that service level as well.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to end on what is coming, what's the newest and latest and greatest for our Hardware Professional Services offerings. So, John, what do we have for Hardware Professional Services that we have not spoken about yet?
So we are excited, and we've been building this over the last couple of years, and again, there's a lot of things that we'll continue to keep coming up with. But one of our latest offerings that we're coming out with is really around mobile device management software. So in this industry, these devices are very specialized as far as the device management. There's device management software for cell phones and tablets and PCs, and there's a little bit of application in this industry as well. Some of that software will run and be able to do some things with like an Android operating system specifically. What we're looking to offer is a very device-specific and industry-specific software that will fully manage these devices. So not only the Android operating system, but the scan settings. We can do full remote control. We can do full updating of firmware, security, OS, over the air for our clients. So it gets into that true managed service look and feel where a customer can call us, request, let's just say it's a change a scanner setting on the devices. We can work with them, test it on one of the devices that they have, verify that that's the right fix, and then we can roll it out to all of their locations, whether it's one location with 3 devices or hundreds of locations with hundreds of devices. We can roll that setting out throughout their entire fleet of devices, or we can do it individually by location if one location has a specific request that wouldn't be applicable to the entire fleet. So we can continue to keep managing that for our clients. We're very excited about it. We think it's a great service offering for a lot of these clients that are out there, and further takes even more work off their plate, right? We can do all the pre-work up front and provide all that complete care value, but now we can actually just do all the work for them, really for the life of the customer.
Wow, that is so exciting. And I am thrilled that we got to make that announcement here on the podcast. Guys, thanks so much for being here. For our customers who are listening, I know many of you may have already purchased hardware through RFSmart, but maybe you haven't. Maybe you went with a different provider initially and it's time to upgrade. We'd love to get in touch with you. You can email us at info@rfsmart.com. Of course, if you're interested in a hardware professional services package, it's not too late. We can definitely get you signed up for one of those as well. And so again, info@rfsmart.com. We'll make sure to get you connected with the right folks. Thanks so much for being here. Make sure you subscribe before you go. You can listen anywhere you listen to podcasts, such as Google Podcast, Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, or the email subscription at rfsmart.com/podcast. Thanks to John and to James, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.